this is Jeff Scott of Blackhawk Technical College, and what I'm going to be doing right now is starting to go over your book that we're using for the 153 mobile app development iPhone class, which is the beginning iPhone with Swift exploring the SDK by Mark, Nutting, Topley, Olson, and Lamarche. What I'm going to do right now is go over Chapter 1. I've already done this in class, but I'm going to go over Chapters 1, 2, and 3. And after I do, I'm going to do the examples that are in Chapters 2 and 3. So, Chapter 1, fittingly enough, starting on page 1, Welcome to the Swift Jungle. Again, I have not gone out here, but there is a forum for this book under http://forum.learncoco.org, and it'd probably be worth my time, your time, to at least sometime or other go out there and check that out. I just clicked on the link, but I have no idea what's out there, how good, how bad, how indifferent it is. But there's a lot of different stuff out here, I'm sure. Alright, what you need. So we've already got OS X Yosemite. Alright, we've already got version 6.1 of Xcode, so we're sitting good as far as that goes. We talk about some of that stuff in here. I'm not going to get into it anymore. There are a bunch of other links here in Chapter 1 on page 4. The Swift programming language, that's the one that I brought out and gave you in 400 and some page one. This Swift quick syntax check, I've already got that out there on the P drive. I found it from IT eBooks. Transitioning to Swift, I don't think I've got that one out there, but I might. Migrating to Swift, again, there's a lot of books that are out there, and a lot of them are just starting to come out. So, what's different about coding for Swift, which is pretty much the rest of the chapter? Only one active application at a time. Remember that normally you're running this on some kind of a mobile device, be it a phone or a tablet, so you're limited as far as memory and you're limited as far as battery. Not only one window, or one active app, one window. As it says, desktop and laptop operating systems allow many programs to run to coexist, each with their ability to create and control multiple windows. However, as mentioned here, unless you attach an external screen or use AirPlay, which I don't even know how to, iOS gives your app just one window to work with. Alright, limited access. iOS seriously restricts what your app can access. It gives you an area that's known as a sandbox, which is where, as it says, your application stores documents, preferences, and any kind of other data that it may need to work with or retain. You will not be able to access low-number network ports or do anything else that would typically require root or admin assistance on a desktop computer. You also have limited response time. As it says, anytime the program is running, it may have the rug pulled out from under it, so you may be running an app and your phone may ring. Alright? And as it says, if it takes longer than 5 seconds to save and give up control, your process will be killed, same way that it is in Android, regardless of whether or not it's finished saving. You've got a limited screen size. One of the things that's happened with the iPhone 6 and above, as you can see right here, is the sizes are getting bigger. Alright. So as it says, the hardware size is the actual physical size of the screen in pixels. However, for writing software, the one that really matters is the software size. It says, as you can see, in most cases, the software size is only about half of that of the hardware. It says this situation came about when Apple introduced the first Retina device, which had twice as many pixels in each direction as its predecessor. The only exception, when you're working with different types of images, is when you're working with bitmaps. As it says, by their very nature, they're fixed in size. For best results, you can't really use the same image on a Retina screen that you would on a non-Retina screen. Typically, you don't use many bitmaps today anyway, so that's probably not going to be much of an issue. Limited system resources. As it says, the iOS devices available right now have either 512 meg or 1024 meg of physical RAM. Again, that's getting bigger as we go on. Alright, the author says here, since we mentioned that Cocoa Touch is missing some features that Cocoa has, it seems only fair to mention that iOS SDK has some functionality not present in Cocoa. The SDK provides a way for your app to determine the iOS device's current geographic coordinates coordinates using core location, which we get to a lot later. Most iOS devices have built-in cameras and photo libraries. iOS devices have built-in motion sensors. Two things iOSs don't have are a physical keyboard and a mouse, which, as it says, means it's a fundamentally different way of interacting to the keyboard. Or with your program, I should say. Last thing in Chapter 1 here, what's in this book? Chapter 2, as it says, you'll learn how to use Interface Builder to create a simple app and throw some text on the screen. Chapter 3, they start to interact with a simple app that dynamically updates text based on buttons in the user process. Chapter 4 builds on Chapter 3 and adds some more user controls. Chapter 5 looks at auto layout and also looks at portrait and landscape modes. Chapter 6 goes into more advanced user interfaces and talks about multiple views. Chapter 7 goes into tab bars and pickers. Chapter 8, table views. Chapter 9, as it says, hierarchical lists. Chapter 10 goes into the UI collection view. Chapter 11, master detail applications. Chapter 12 goes into implementing app settings. Chapter 13 is when you finally get into core data. Chapter 14 and 15, which I plan on skipping both those. 14 is on iCloud, 15 is on Grand Central Dispatch, GCD. As it says, it'll allow you to use iOS features that you, under certain circumstances, can allow your app to run in the background. Just not enough time to go over everything, sorry. Chapter 16, the core graphics system. Chapter 17, Sprite Kit, oftentimes used for game creation. Chapter 18, talking about basic gestures, pinch, swipe, etc. Chapter 19 talks about longitude and latitude with core location. Chapter 20 talks about the iOS's accelerometer and gyroscope, which is very hard to use with a simulator, but we'll talk about it hopefully anyway. Chapter 20, as it says, which I'm probably not going to go over, which is camera and pictures. 21 is on internationalization, probably not go over that either. And finally, there's an appendix, which we've already gone over, which, as mentioned, introduces you to the Swift programming language. The book has been updated from the previous edition to talk about iOS 8 and Xcode 6. Again, OS X Yosemite is the current operating system. Xcode 6.1 is the current IDE. So when we get into Chapter 2, this is the Hello World, which literally they have you come in here and they show you how to go through Xcode, create the single view app. They talk about the different features that are in here. And then they have you literally create the old Hello World. They show you the interface. They have you come in here and put a label in there that literally just says Hello World. I'm going to do that tomorrow and hopefully even get into Chapter 3 tomorrow. Okay. This particular tape video is being made using, I've just got the Windows machine on, but starting tomorrow I hope to tape using to go back and forth between the PDF and code, so I'll have to do it on the Mac, and I will see you then.